Okay, let's forget about fashion for a moment. What we're about to do here is dissect a total masterclass in brand storytelling. You see, there's a company called Elevated Vision, and they aren't just selling clothes. No, they're architecting an identity, a whole philosophy they call the uniform of power.
And it all starts with this one image. The Celistique Jalab, just hanging there in front of a private jet. The tagline reads, "Ascend in silence, arrive in power." Now that's not just some clever marketing copy. It's a mission statement. This isn't your typical product shot. This is chapter 1 of a story about ambition, about exclusivity, and about that exact moment of arrival.
Now listen to this line from their description, because it captures their entire strategy. It is not just worn, it is unveiled. Just by using that one word, unveiled, they turn a piece of clothing into a major event, a reveal. It's an absolutely masterful use of language that frames the entire experience for you before you've even thought about a price tag.
So how do they actually build this world? Well, it all comes down to meticulous design. Their goal is to create something they call a form of modern nobility. Let's break down 2 of their core garments that really reveal their entire playbook.
First up is the noble crestline jalab, which they define as elegance embodied, power refined. This piece, it's positioned as the foundation of their entire collection. It's a symbol of elevated grace, designed for what they call a modern era of luxury.
And here, the focus zooms right into the tiny details. The brand says that every single stitch is meant to whisper mastery. This crestline detailing you see, it's not just for looks, it's designed to act as a regal insignia, a quiet, confident declaration of leadership.
So the really crucial point here is that the garment is packed with specific concepts. It's meant to be a regal insignia, projecting calm authority and timeless poise. And ultimately, it's presented as an expression of legacy. You see, this isn't about trends. It's about embodying a very specific character.
This line right here, this crystallizes their entire philosophy. Elevated Vision is making a really bold claim. True nobility isn't inherited, it's designed. This completely reframes an old-world concept for a modern, aspirational audience, for people who believe in self-creation.
But, refined power is only half the story. The next garment we're looking at shifts from that quiet grace to a much more overt, confident display of prestige.
This is the EV Sovereign Jalab, and they call it the definitive attire of modern royalty. The embroidery here is way more assertive, a lot more complex. The brand uses this term, architectural detailing, and it's a design that's meant to fuse a sense of heritage with contemporary authority.
The language here definitely shifts to power and presence. That architectural detailing is pretty interesting. It's supposed to echo the symmetry of aviation engineering, which ties right back to that private jet imagery. And what does that symbolize? Limitless ambition. The end goal is to convey a sovereignty that is, as they put it, recognized, not claimed.
But Elevated Vision doesn't just do these big, overt displays of power. They've got a totally different gear, the power of minimalism, or what they call the art of silence.
So meet the Aurelius Flow Jalab. This one is positioned as the uniform for men who move with silent authority. The design is intentionally stripped way back. They say the deep, commanding color reflects discipline, intelligence, and focus. This is for a presence that speaks long before any words do.
Now this side-by-side comparison, this is where the brand's whole strategy just becomes crystal clear. On one side, you have the ornate, architectural sovereign, and on the other, the clean, masculine simplicity of the Aurelius. This visual contrast perfectly illustrates the 2 sides of their philosophy of power. And this chart breaks down that contrast perfectly. The sovereign is worn to command through overt prestige. The Aurelius, on the other hand, is crafted to express a kind of silent authority. This is a really key insight. They aren't just designing for different occasions, they're designing for totally different mindsets of power. And this is the core belief behind the Aurelius. Power doesn't always have to shout, Sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is the quietest one. This garment, they say, is for a ruler who has nothing left to prove.
So let's zoom out a bit. We've seen the products, but what's the big, overarching philosophy that ties all this together? Well, it's about way more than just a brand mark.
The brand is super intentional about how they frame their mark. They insist that the EV on the chest is not a logo, but a seal of identity. Now that is a clever branding move. It shifts the focus from the company to the customer, suggesting that the mark
actually represents the wearer's own vision, discipline, and purpose.
This brings us to the climax of their brand story, and it's told in 3 powerful statements. First, their garments aren't just worn, they are inhabited. That word implies you don't just put it on your body, you make it a part of who you are.
Second, it is lived. This positions the garment as an active player in your journey, a part of the life that you're building. It's not just for a special occasion, it's for your life's work.
And finally, they drive home the most crucial point in their entire philosophy. This status, this uniform, it is earned. This connects right back to that idea that nobility is designed, not inherited. The uniform of power isn't something you can just go out and buy. It's something you have to deserve through your own actions and achievements.
Which brings us right to their final tagline, which is just a masterstroke of branding. Crafted for those who rise. In just 5 words, it sums up their entire target audience, their core mission, and their aspirational promise. It's all about upward mobility, ambition, and the journey of elevation.
So we'll end with this question, which is really at the heart of the whole elevated vision strategy. They're betting that for their customer, luxury isn't just about collecting expensive things anymore. It's about using those things as tools and as symbols in the process of becoming who you want to be. It's a fascinating thought, isn't it?